What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss the fourth stimulus check update, the stimulus package update, daily news, what's going on in the United States, Washington, D.C., money, investing, the stock market, pretty much everything you need to know about here on a daily basis. If you find these videos helpful, don't forget to hit the like button for us down below. New videos come out here on our channel every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure to subscribe down below. It's completely free to do so you don't miss out on any new videos. We got a lot here going on with the stimulus package as the Democrats are nearing the final stages to get it done. They're in the negotiation stage of finishing the final top line number, which is expected to be somewhere in the mid $2 trillion range, as they have come down from $3.5 trillion now to probably somewhere around $2.5 trillion. Here is Democratic Representative Pramila Jayapal. She's leader of the Democratic Progressive Caucus from the House of Representatives. She's going to be giving us a lot of information here. She's leader of about 100 Democrats in the House of Representatives. Here's what she has to say on several different key points of the stimulus package here. Lots of information here. Then we will be talking about the IRS provision where they can, the IRS will actually be able to spy into your bank accounts. This is a very controversial issue here, so we'll be talking about that next here. But first, Pramila Jayapal, who's going to give us details on several different things into the stimulus package. She has a lot to say here. Check this out.
Now is the Democratic Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal of Washington State. She's the co-chair of the Progressive Caucus and a member of the House Judiciary and Budget Committees. Congresswoman, good to see you again. Last you and I talked about a week and a half ago, we discussed this issue. I think you basically had suggested that it can come down a little bit, but there are some things in there that you're not that interested in negotiating. You're not that interested in shortening or underfunding. One of them is climate, and we're hearing reports now that Joe Manchin may have tanked a very big part of the climate bill.
Ali, it's good to see you and good to be back talking about this again, because it's such an important piece of the president's agenda. 85% of the president's agenda is in the Build Back Better Act. So, our belief is that you can shorten some of those programs by years in order to bring the price tag down. I think on climate, we have been very clear, the president has been very clear, and really the world has been very clear that the United States needs to lead on taking on climate change. A big part of that is about how we bring down carbon emissions. And there are two pieces in this package that are important to that. One is the Clean Electricity Performance Program, and the other is the Clean Energy Tax Credits. And they both sort of work together to say there's a carrot and a stick if we're going to bring down emissions. Now, we understand that we have to get all 50 senators on board, and that Senator Manchin obviously has a very big role to play on this. This is in his committee. And so we are continuing to push for the strongest possible climate protections that will allow us to bring down carbon emissions. And we're open to that negotiation as long as we have strong climate protections that bring down carbon emissions. And so that's the discussion that's underway right now. There are no decisions that have been made, despite any reporting that's been out there. There's no decisions that have been made. The negotiations are continuing. And I think that we need to make sure, as my friend Tina Smith from Minnesota, Senator Smith said, it's not enough just to have two people on board in the Senate. You got to have all 50 senators. And so I think that's an important part of this as well.
So when we last talked, the way you helped characterize this so that we can understand this is the way in which you would bring the price tag. And I think you and I both discussed the price tag is a frustrating way to discuss this, because we really need to be discussing what the programs are and what return they provide. But there are three options. You either shorten the duration of some of the things that you're proposing, you reduce the cost of some of the things that you are proposing, or you cut some of them out entirely. Is that still the chess game that's being played, where something might be shortened, something might be cut, something might be left?
Yes, I think that's right. What I think it's important for people to remember is that for the Progressive Caucus, we winnowed a long time ago. We didn't think that this bill should be trying to do everything, right? We also have a separate appropriations process. So what we said is we want investments that are transformative, that provide benefit immediately to people that they can feel in this moment of crisis, and that are as universal as possible. That's how we got to saying we want to invest in universal childcare and pre-K. We want to make sure that there is home and community-based care for our seniors. We want to make sure that there's paid family and medical leave. That's all within the care economy because, Allie, we got to get women and families back into the workplace, and this is the way you do it. Now, we also said that the other 4 priorities were climate change, housing, absolutely critical that we make a big investment in housing to house the unhoused across the country. We need to expand Medicare and invest in health care by providing seniors with dental, vision, and hearing, one of the most popular pieces of this package. And we need to make sure we're lifting up immigrants. Those are the 5 priorities that we settled on. And I feel pretty confident that those major priorities will be in this package. Now, there might be other ancillary things that are cut out, but I think we feel good that the majority, if not all, of these priorities will be in this package, but perhaps for a shortened period of time.
How do you wish to recharacterize this debate? Because there are people who seem to be characterizing this as sort of half the Democratic Party will support this and half of it doesn't, or half the Democratic caucus does and half of it doesn't, or the progressives do but the moderates don't. The group you represent in Congress, the Progressive Caucus, is the largest group in Congress, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct. We are. We have 96 members in the House of Representatives, but this is not a progressives versus moderates debate. Let me characterize it the way that President Biden characterized it, which is that this is about opportunity versus decay. The United States has to invest in a whole host of things that provide regular working families the opportunity to actually have a better life, a little bit of breathing space, I think, as he said the other day, so that people have childcare so that they can get back to work, so that people have paid family leave so they can look after loved ones or themselves when they are ill, so that people can, feel like young people can feel like they've got a planet that they want to live on, so that we can house the unhoused in the richest country in the world. These are the things that will define America as a democracy. The longer we keep with the inequality, and by the way, another important piece of this package, Allie, is the tax system, which the president has been so great about talking about. This is going to be a $0 bill at the end of the day because it's all paid for by taxes on the wealthiest individuals and corporations just paying their fair share. So that's the characterization. And let me be clear, the House already has a bill called the Build Back Better Act that went through committees that the vast majority, except for a small handful of Democrats, were not on, everybody was on board except for a small handful. The Senate has 2 senators that we still need to get on board. And I'm not disparaging anybody. The margins are so thin that we need to have everybody on board. And that's why the Progressive Caucus has been saying, look, we're standing up for the president's agenda. We're not going to leave anybody behind, but we're at the negotiating table. We are willing to discuss this, and we have been. And I think there's good progress being made, though sometimes, negotiation is a messy part of democracy, Allie. Not everybody knows what's happening all the time. And sometimes it looks like tempers are flared, and they may be. But at the end of the day, we're all Democrats. We're going to get this done.
Yeah, so one of the main issues that they're struggling with right now is progressives like Pramila Jayapal and the 96 members of her group that she mentioned there, the Progressive Caucus, as well as other progressives like Senator Bernie Sanders, who's actually largely considered the person in charge of the entire stimulus package. He's the Senate budget chairman, the person in charge of the reconciliation process, which is how they're going to pass it in the Senate with the only 50 to 51 votes. The progressives want the package to be larger and at the $3.5 trillion, which is where the stimulus package was supposed to be to start. The larger the package is, the more they can fit into the package. The more they can fit into the package, the more they can fit in there. Remember, they could put a 4th stimulus check in there on top of all the other things, including the monthly stimulus checks that were included in the 3rd stimulus check package that will end at the end of this year called the child tax credits, those monthly stimulus checks going out to 65 million children that were included in the third stimulus check package, the child tax credits. Those end at the end of this year. On December 15th, that will be the last monthly check for 65 million children unless they can pass this next package. They want to extend that for several more years, possibly as long as 2025. But now that they're having to cut this package, they're saying, well, we might not be able to do it that long. It might go till 2022, which would be one more year, 2023, which would be two more years, 2024, which would be three more years. All that's up for negotiation. They could add a fourth stimulus check in there as well for just adults, which they could do for as low as 5% or less of the size of this bill. The larger the bill is, the larger amount they can get, the closer they can get to $3 trillion, the more the possibility they can do things like that. Remember that the second stimulus check was added in at the very last moment. It was the last thing they added in. They actually wrote the bill of the second stimulus check. They actually wrote the bill, didn't even have a stimulus check in the bill. And then they had to modify the bill because basically there was an outroar of you guys petitioning your congressmen and your senators and with petitions, calling them, emailing, tweeting them, and saying, no, we don't support this bill without a second stimulus check. And that was the second one. And that led to the second one, and then the third one, and now we're here on the fourth one, and it's kind of like deja vu, right? So your petitions, your voices have been heard in the past, and that actually led to monthly checks for children called the child tax credits. And again, they can add a fourth stimulus check in there for adults for as little as 5% or less of the size of the package, in addition to the monthly checks for children. So monthly checks for children called the child tax credits. They want to extend that for multiple years, but again, they have to pass the package. That last monthly check is going to be on December 15th, which is only 2 months away. And they can add a fourth stimulus check on there for less than 5% of the package. But all of this stuff is up for negotiations as they're determining the size of the package and what is going to be in the package once they determine the size of the package. Another very, very controversial issue is the IRS spying provision. Yeah, as you can see here in this article today, from today, Democrats face growing storm over IRS reporting a provision where the IRS, they want to give the IRS more authority to look into your bank account for any bank account that has potentially as low as $600 in it. They've been going back and forth with this anywhere from as low as bank accounts with as low as $600, anywhere from $600 to $10,000. And while this has been a very controversial issue, we've seen Democrats from House Speaker Nancy Pelosi to Senator Elizabeth Warren saying, well, the reason they want to do this is because they want to potentially catch tax cheats, people that are potentially buying and selling things on eBay or on marketplaces, Facebook Marketplace, or even at flea markets or anything like that. If you're buying and selling things and not reporting it as income, technically, in the eyes of the IRS, you might be considered a tax cheat because you're selling things, you have sales, but you're not reporting it as income. And they say that over the course of the entire country, 330 million people, all sorts of transactions like that, just as an example. Cryptocurrencies is another example. All sorts of examples like that for the whole country, 330 million people, that the IRS is owed $1 trillion per year. $1 trillion per year. And the IRS would love to have access to everybody's bank accounts, transactions, and information, all the data. Because if the IRS had access to basically everybody's bank account data, that they could figure out who owes them money. Yeah. The problem with this as well, nobody wants the IRS to have access to their bank accounts, or at least the data of their bank accounts, because, well, who wants the IRS snooping around in their bank account more than the government already does? So it's a very, very controversial issue, and a lot of people are very, very against this. So they've kind of gone back and forth. They've said, well, maybe not as low as $600. Maybe we'll tweak the amount to $10,000. And then they've said, well, no, it should be $600. We have Republicans that are completely against this. But in all fairness, we have Republicans that are against the entire stimulus package altogether. We're not expecting a single Republican to vote yes on this stimulus package at all. Not any of the Medicare provisions, not any of the child tax credit. They're not going to vote yes on the stimulus package at all. Not a single Republican voted yes on the third stimulus check package either. So when those $1,400 stimulus checks went out, those child tax credits went out, the rent assistance went out, the SNAP assistance went out. Not a single Republican voted for that. So Republicans are against everything in the package, just to be clear, not just the controversial issues. So, yeah, it's the IRS surveillance or the IRS spying issue is a very, very controversial issue. But Democratic leaders, Nancy Pelosi has says it will be in this package. It will be in this package. The question is that what dollar amount will it be in there? And the dollar amount will be either for one, transactions of the dollar amount, either be transaction of in like a single transaction, how much that particular transaction is, or the amount of transaction of the dollar of the bank account, how much is in the actual bank account. So if the bank account has $600 or more, or if a single transaction is $600 or more, is the lowest amount that they're considering, or $10,000. So as I said, all of these items are up for negotiation. There's a lot of information going out there like this. It says the Biden IRS proposal could mark the end of privacy in banking. And the reason is because I mean, if they're turning over your banking data, they're really giving away your privacy. They're literally just turning over your banking data, every single transaction on a daily basis to the IRS without a warrant or a subpoena or anything, just literally on a daily basis, just giving away your banking data, your banking privacy all the time to the IRS every single day. So the question is, are you even entitled to privacy anymore with your banking data? And yeah, this is why it's a very, very controversial thing. But a lot of people would say that the IRS already knows about this. They already give a W-2. They already know your banking history. They already know your transactions. They already know the interest you're paying. They already pretty much know a lot of this stuff anyways. So is it really anything new to begin with? So, that's kind of the thing is, do they already know all this stuff anyways? Is it really anything new? Yeah. Another very controversial thing that's in the news today is check this out. The U.S. says it will pay the family of the 10 Afghans that were killed in the failed drone strike and will help them relocate to the U.S. So this again was I remember reporting this to you. Seems like a while ago. Seems like weeks and weeks ago, when they were removing everybody from the airport in Kabul, and they had a drone strike. To what they said was to protect the airport, and it turns out that no, it was not, and they had false intelligence. Well, now the U.S. says that they're going to pay the family of them and they will relocate them to the United States. So, yeah, I do think it's fair to pay them because, well, uh, they obviously made a mistake, and it's a very, very tragic story. Do you think they should do this? Do you think they should pay them? Do you think they should relocate them to the U.S.? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. When you're at war, these type of things happen. It's just it's a very, very sad fact. And when you're dealing with intelligence and by the minute type of stuff, I mean, all sorts of type of these things happen. Uh, by all means, there's no excuse for it. It's a very, very sad fact. Let me know your thoughts on this down below in the comments. Do you think this rectifies the situation? Uh, it's a very, very tough thing. I don't know if there's any way you can rectify the situation. What do you really do after the fact? Um, Not much you really can do. This is probably one of the only things you can really do after the fact. It's a tough thing to do. Let me know your thoughts on this down below in the comments. But yeah, it's a tough thing when you're in situations like that and you're trying to protect the airport as you're trying to remove people from that situation. And they had bad intelligence, and you know I mean, it's just a bad situation all around. The other thing really in the news here lately is that Senator Kirsten Sinema will not back the spending bill, the stimulus package, without the passage of the infrastructure bill. This is a little complicated because the infrastructure package at this point is really supposed to be passed after the stimulus package. And you would think that she knows this at this point, that the infrastructure package is supposed to be passed second. So if the infrastructure package is supposed to be passed second, why does she really say things like this? So it is a bit confusing. You would think that she understands this. So she understands that now the infrastructure package is going to be passed second and the stimulus package is going to be passed first. Why does she make statements like this? It's almost like, I understand this. Does she understand this? So she won't back the stimulus package without the infrastructure package. It's like, well, that's not really how things work anymore. The infrastructure package is going to be passed second. The infrastructure package, meaning the physical infrastructure package, roads, bridges, airports, clean drinking water. That bill is going to provide millions of jobs over the course of the next 10 years. But you can't really say that you won't back the Biden spending bill, which is the stimulus package, the reconciliation bill, the American Families Plan, without the infrastructure package because that's not the voting order. The infrastructure package is going to come second. So it's almost kind of confusing. Like, does she understand the order that they're going to be voted in? I do. Does she? Maybe she doesn't. Yeah, sometimes kind of makes you wonder. Maybe I am more up to date with what's going on with these stimulus packages than some of these senators. It wouldn't surprise me, to be honest. But nonetheless, I will keep you up to date with what's going on with these stimulus packages. They are kind of closing some of the chapters on some of the details of this stimulus package. And I'll keep you up to date here on everything going on here with the stimulus package, the infrastructure package, and everything going on here in our country. Make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't yet. It's literally completely free to do so. You just have to click subscribe and that's it. After subscribing, you can click the bell icon that appears next to the subscribe button to get notifications when we go live, reminders, which is every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll keep you up to date with everything going on in our country that you need to know about. You can click here to watch my newest stimulus check video next, and you can click here to see how there's a big movement to add $1,400 to $2,000 stimulus checks into the next stimulus package. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.